what is your American dream?
My mom came to the United States with a dream, and the dream was really very simple. It was to get herself to a place where she could bring her children up to make sure they had a better life. They thrived in an environment that recognized their talents and reward their hard work. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she was 64 when she took on the task of raising 3 grandkids after having had 7 children of her own. She took it on to raise her daughter's 3 kids. We're living the dream of those 2 great women. And I would say, yes, we did achieve the American dream.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Yo-Yo and Vanessa, still at home somewhere, I assume. Yo-Yo and Vanessa, how are you?
We're here.
Peace out. I'm back in the studio. We're going to have a full show today. And by the way, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, happy Hump Day to both of you.
Happy Hump Day to you, too.
Day.
Thank you very much.
Middle of the week.
It is the middle of the week. Yo-Yo, I don't know if anybody told you what the weather is outside, but it is freezing outside.
I just came from outside.
I can see that you just came from outside in a white, almost cotton T-shirt there.
I didn't know we were supposed to dress for the weather outside when I'm inside, but
well, I thought maybe you were dressing down for Hump Day. I don't know that maybe it would get a little.
You got to.
It's Dr. Love Day.
Yeah,
Dr. Love.
I thought maybe this is like
to show a little extra skin. You know what I mean?
or maybe it could get a little too hot in that apartment. I don't know.
It could go both ways.
Yes,
it could go both ways.
And Vanessa, how you doing today?
I'm doing swell today, Brad.
Yes.
I was looking forward to sitting down with my favorite guys, and here we are.
Thank you very much. It's the snow melting and it warmed up a little bit, so it wasn't as cold as it was 2 days ago. Although still pretty cold. It's kind of bittersweet in the sense that you like the fact that it's warming up, but at the same time you're walking around in slush. It's not as much fun, the snow, right?
We'll see about these winters.
Yeah. Anyways, well, it was our first snow of the year. It's always exciting. But let's get back to business. Let's say hello to the squad, see how they're doing.
Let's do it.
All right. Sasha Ford, squad up. Jessica Leamy, my dear, how are you? Jack K. McLeod, squad up. Willie L. Williams saying, hey, squad up, everybody. Yvette Halstead, squad up, family. Jewel Delph, squad up. And who else we have here? Violet Blackwood, squad up. Christina Davis, we see you watching, along with Marsha McKenzie, squad up. And, I find it's very stressful to be able to try to say hello to everybody. It's a very stressful, this is the most stressful part of the entire show, to me. You
don't want to miss any VIPs.
I don't want to miss anybody because, they'll come right back and say, hey, Brad. 2 days in a row. Come on. Nino Ninola saying hi with just a wave. Denisha Joseph, squad up. And who else we got here? Star Girl Mika, what's going on? Fan Fiji, squad up. How are you? And Carol Anderson, the Tiger. Charity Breaky, squad up, Brad and everyone. I got my second COVID vaccination today. Woohoo! Oh, nice. All right, that's good. So she will be able at least to have somewhat more of a semblance of a life, normal life, semblance of a normal life. So congratulations to you. I hope everybody takes it when it's available to them. Bim Lawrence with a question. We'll get back to you in a little bit. And Joan Erica, squad up. How are you? Debbie McCullough, Vitalis Asugwu, Crystal. I'm a Conqueror, Francis. Very positive name. Very positive name. Letitia Johnson, squad up. Charmaine Robinson, Kelly Williams, and Zanelle Jack, all on Facebook. Let's check out your grouping there, boss lady, on YouTube. Chimoa Ihoni, Squad Up, Kenroy British, how are you? Jill Go Productions, also known as Jilly Bean, Squad Up to you as well. Abdul Latif saying, hi guys, Squad Up. Kimberlyn Burris and Patience Sewar saying hello. All right, Yo-Yo, Vanessa, why don't you take it away while we get ready for some schmoozing.
Absolutely. All right, squad, you already know what time it is. Hey, Brad, move your mouth. If it's all right, squad, remember, please share, because we're about to start schmoozing with Brad. Like he said, he's going to fill us in on the latest news, including new reporting about the backlog on immigration visas.
And it's Wednesday, so we'll be chatting Hump Day headlines like a French suburb that got a little too randy for authorities' taste.
And of course, we're back in studio, so that means only one thing. We will be able to take your immigration calls. You're going to see a number scrolling right there on the bottom. You can call right now. We do have open lines, 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. I believe Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with my head, he's on strike today. Hopefully he will be back tomorrow. And also, you can also call that same telephone number, 1-800-529-5465, to contact my law office. Law offices of Spar and Bernstein. And later, I will be playing a game of Bradified Marriage with a couple who married 2 weeks after they met on Tinder. And we're preparing already for their Stokes interview. 2 weeks on Tinder, they got married, they filed the adjustment. Bonafide marriage, they swear up and down, and they're getting ready for their Stokes. We played Bradified Marriage with them. We'll see how they do. But right now, guys,
I can't wait to see that.
Right now, guys, you ready for some schmoozing with
Let's do
us? Schmoozing with us.
Yeah.
We're schmoozing with us. All right, so the New York Times is reporting today that because of President Donald Trump's proclamations barring immigration interviews for most immigration cases that are not marriages to U.S. citizens, the United States is now facing a backlog of 380,000 cases at U.S. embassies around the entire world. That's not even the number of adjustments being filed here. We're talking about 380,000 people who have completed all of their paperwork, who are ready and for their immigrant visa appointments, who are eligible for their immigrant visa appointments because the priority dates are current. They are just waiting to be called in. And now there is a backlog because of the various proclamations due to Trump's anti-immigration stances, as well as COVID, 380,000 people. Now, U.S. consulates, just so you understand, they issue about 500,000 immigrant visas a year. So if we have a backlog of 380,000 people, they are backed up over a year than what they were when this entire thing started. And most of these people, believe it or not, are still family members of U.S. citizens and permanent residents. In April, Trump signed the proclamation suspending almost all legal immigration. Now Biden has pledged to reopen the doors once again, to restart the engine, the immigration engine, to get immigrant visa appointments. But the problem is this. They got 380,000 visa applicants backlogged. I would say from my own experience, there's about 2 immigration officers or 2 consular officers doing interviews at any given time. And if you think about it and say, all right, well, Biden will just have to hire more people to do immigrant visa appointments. It takes 2 years to go through the training process to get certified to be a consular officer. So even if they say, okay, we're going to hire more people, they're not going to be able to get people in there who are qualified for at least 2 years. So it's a huge problem.
The petty in me just automatically thinks about Trump, and this is probably one of the biggest gratifications, like self-gratifying moments for him, just because he didn't win. He's like, well, I screwed them on this. Now they're behind a whole year, and c'est la vie.
You're right. And we said, it's not going to be easy for Biden just to turn back on the faucet.
Right.
Things that Trump did are going to, like, here's a perfect example, are going to be affecting immigrants for years. Even if there is an amnesty, even if there is a change in immigration laws that speed up processing, you still need people to actually do a process. Now, it's possible there are remedies to fix these issues. You don't have to have an interview. Why do we have to meet every last person that needs an immigrant visa? If on their paperwork, everything looks good, and their background checks, everything looks good, and the immigration officer really doesn't have any question other than for them to show up, stamp a passport, and leave, and ask some general questions, it's possible that in the future, I have no idea, but it's possible in the future they may say some people aren't even going to get visa appointments. Why? I always found it a little ridiculous why people need a visa appointment. Why do you need to show up and speak to somebody if it's a straightforward case? If there's a case where an immigration officer has to ask you about some offense that occurred before, or some sort of misrepresentation issue that they see, or some other issues that they may believe may prevent you from getting a green card, well then, yeah, you have to have an interview. But if there's no issues that look like they would prevent you from getting a green card, why interview in the first place? Just send the person the green card. Your background checks are cleared. And quite frankly, if we've learned anything in the pandemic, we could do everything by Zoom. So as long as the person has a telephone, if you really want to interview them and you want to speed things up, just FaceTime them. Say, hi, how are you? I got a few questions for you. Done. All right, we'll send you a green card in the mail.
Right.
Genius, Brad.
Genius.
Genius.
I am not even on that blue ribbon committee. But if somebody knows Jill Biden, tell her to give me a call.
Listen,
because I got some good
information
ideas.
for.
Because I got some good ideas. Because there's no way that they're going to be able to clear up these backlogs, even if they wanted to, because they can't train the people fast enough. And if you have two consular officers who are working generally in each, embassy, if you put three, you find retired people and bring them back. Or you move people around. So, okay, now there's three people. You still have hundreds of thousands of people in backlogged. So, why do you need to go interview a 10-year-old kid? For what purpose? Why does a 10-year-old kid need to show up at the embassy? So, there's, why does, grandma who's 75 years old need to be interviewed for security clearance? I don't think grandma's doing anything at 75.
Yeah.
So, there's certain people, just, groups of people, they could say, we're not going to interview them.
Right. And I think it's so important for people to actually see this. This is why I think this schmoozing with Brad is so important, because I see on a lot of different websites and profiles on Instagram, especially that are catered to the younger crowd, that are really questioning President Biden's, promptness and saying, oh, well, why aren't you doing this faster? Why aren't you doing this faster? And it's like, we have to understand that there's so much that he has to, correct. And like you said, it's going to take a while. So that's why I think it's so important for people to actually see this, So that's, yeah.
I agree with you, Yo-Yo. Here's another perfect example. Okay, you're talking about the stimulus plan, and you're saying, okay, Biden's been there for 2 weeks. Why hasn't it passed yet? Well, the reason, because they want a $1.9 trillion COVID rescue plan. And the problem is that to pass a bill in the Senate, you need 60 senators to pass it. Mm-hmm. But there's only 50 people who are Democrats plus Kamala Harris. So they need 10 more senators. So 10 Republican senators came and said, we'll pass something for $600 billion, but we don't want to pass something for $1.9 trillion. And Joe Biden and Janet Yellen, who's the new Treasury Secretary, they don't even think 1.9 trillion may be enough. They may need to go back again. So they don't want to pass something that's 600 billion. They want to go big or go home, as Joe Biden says. But he needs those other 9 Republicans. So it's not that easy. So what does he have to do if he wants to bypass it? In the Senate rules, you can pass budget resolutions by a 51-50 majority. So if you get all the Democrats plus Kamala to pass the $1.9 trillion stimulus plan, and they do it through something called reconciliation, which is a budgeting to budget money for the United States, they can do it 51-50. But reconciliation, the process of doing it in the Senate, is a slow process that takes weeks to do. So if they want to pass something fast, they need Republicans. If not, they got to go through this reconciliation process, which may take weeks, which ultimately is going to happen. So when you say, well, where's our stimulus checks, Joe Biden? You promised us right from day one. He's doing it from day one. It's just there's a procedure in place in the Senate that doesn't work as fast as we all want it to.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, also what's going on in the Congress right now is Donald Trump's impeachment. And the House impeachment managers, they filed a brief charging Donald Trump with being singularly responsible for inciting the insurrection last month at the United States Capitol. The filing also underscored how rioters themselves have called Donald Trump as the reason that they attacked Congress. In response, Donald Trump's legal team argued his speech was protected by the First Amendment and that it's unconstitutional to move forward with impeachment since he is no longer in office. Now, this is Trump's second group of attorneys. The first group of attorneys quit, presumably because Donald Trump wanted them to argue that the election was stolen from him. And no attorney wanted to do that because they know it's a lie. An attorney can go in and argue the Constitution. He had a right to free speech and say what he wants. And they also can argue that this is a procedural problem. He's no longer president, so procedurally, not substantively, they're not arguing whether substantively he did something wrong, just procedurally that it's moot because he's no longer the president, and therefore you can't impeach somebody who is no longer the president because there's nothing to impeach. And I'll say 2 things about that, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Number one, not all free speech is protected free speech. So when we say in the United States of America that we have freedom of speech only goes so far. I'll give you perfect examples that have nothing to do with this. Okay? We don't have freedom of speech for child pornography. Right? So somebody who's a child pornographer, they would argue, well, I have freedom of speech. I can put up a picture and use pictures of child pornography. No, you don't have a right to that. So freedom of speech only goes so far. You don't have a right to slander or libel somebody, to say lies about them publicly. That's also not protected under our First Amendment of free speech. So free speech only goes so far. And in this particular case, you don't have a right to incite an insurrection, and you don't have a freedom of speech to go tell somebody to go break the law. You can't stand on your soapbox and say to everybody, go rob the bank, go rob the bank, go rob the bank. Here's a gun, here's ammunition, this is where you get it. I'm going to tell you how to do it. Go rob the bank. And then say, I didn't do anything wrong. I have freedom of speech. I can tell everyone to go rob a bank. No, you don't have a right to do that. You don't have a right to tell people to break the law and then have them follow you. And you don't have a right to incite an insurrection. So I don't believe I am an attorney, but I am a layman constitutional expert. Okay? There are lawyers out there who study this for 30 years. I study immigration. So there are lawyers out there who study this for 30 years or 40 years or experts on constitutional law. I don't know every last Supreme Court decision. But from my layman attorney's perspective, he doesn't have a right to incite a riot. That's not freedom of speech. And number two, the Constitution, from what I understand, says that the head of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, has to preside over an impeachment of a president or vice president. But it doesn't say you can't impeach anybody. It just says that the Supreme Court should preside over and head the impeachment process of impeaching a sitting president or sitting vice president. But it's silent, absolutely silent on whether you can impeach somebody who is already out of office. And why would you want to do that is because if you do impeach them, you have the ability to prevent them from running for office again if they've done something so terrible. So there is a penalty for the impeachment. It is not a moot thing. So the briefs are a preview. That's what the arguments are. I've given you basically both sides. That's what the arguments are, and it's a preview of all of the issues that are going to be in Donald Trump's impeachment starting next week.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you care that Jeff Bezos is stepping down as CEO of Amazon?
I'm a little.
Is that like a? I don't know if that's like we should care. Should we talk about it? Should we? Wouldn't? I'm kind of on the fence on that one.
I mean, I don't think we have to spend too much time, but I do want to get your opinion on why you think, because it's a little sketch. You know, I know that he's a billionaire, and like people are, well, what I said like was, you know, he's a billionaire. He's not going to work all his life, but even billionaires want to continue to make money. So like stepping down as CEO instead of like staying as CEO and just hiring people to do his job while he's just, you know, sitting down. Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm side-eyeing it. Why do you think he did it?
I think it's actually all ego. In the sense that he's not really giving up a lot of income because he still owns the stock in the company. So as the stock goes up, he's going to be making a lot of money. And he's putting his right-hand man to run Amazon, who's been with him for 30 years. So he trusts the guy who's going to run it. And he says to himself, you know what, I got $90 billion or $150 billion or $5 gazillion. I don't even know what he's worth. And you want to know what? And I have an ego. So you know what I want to do? I want to put a man on Mars, and I want to make these huge donations all over the world so I can say I'm a great philanthropist. So I want to spend my time building up my ego. I already have built up my ego as much as I can by building the world's largest company. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. That's my opinion. What do you think? What do you think, Vanessa?
This is still fresh. This is still fresh news. It caught me off guard a little bit, but I can also see how that, like, it's his, like, I get, now that I hear you mention the ego thing, because that did not cross my mind for a second.
Yeah.
But it's like he invented, let's say, or he created like maybe one of the greatest things of all time. And sure, now that you mentioned the ego thing, it's like, okay, did that, you know, let me just sit back here, but I'm obviously still going to be making my end, you know? So I guess it might be an ego thing.
Like I told you guys, I've been watching this show called Billions, and it's about a billionaire who works in like stock, and he has this huge company, and it's all just like games that they play with each other. They're like a bunch of billionaires that screw each other over and do acts like this, you know, just like random acts like this to either psych out the public or whatever. So I always think that there's something in between the lines, you know, that we're not reading. I always think that there's something you got to side eye. So I don't know. I just don't know what it is.
Always suspicious, Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo
Oh,
is
yeah.
always suspicious.
He always feels there's always something trifling happening.
Exactly.
There's never just be happening.
Trifling.
Yeah, you know that emoji guy with like the little glass and he's looking up?
Oh, that's Yo-Yo.
That's Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo's the emoji guy with the little glass looking up and going,
This goes deeper.
Let me think about this a little more, right?
That's me all the way.
That's a good emoji. That was a good one, Brad.
I use that stays in the history of the emojis I use.
Is it? Is it always? Yeah, that's very funny. I can imagine that.
So funny.
Now, according to statistics from the Johns Hopkins University, there are now over 104 million coronavirus cases worldwide. More than 2.25 million people have died. 57.5 million people have recovered. In the United States, we have a death toll now of 448,000 people, approximating close to 50,000 more deaths from COVID this year than all of World War II. About 70 to 85% of the United States population needs to be fully vaccinated for this to be over. So far, we stand at 2%.
Oh, man.
The Biden administration said it's going to begin direct shipments of coronavirus vaccines to retail pharmacies next week. So Americans will be able to go to their Walmart, their Duane Reade, their Rite Aids to start getting COVID vaccines if the governors open it up to people who are under 65 or who are not first responders. Now, half the states have begun allowing teachers to be vaccinated. By this week, 24 states and Washington, D.C. were providing shots to teachers of kindergarten through high school students. That's a smart thing to do, because if we can get teachers vaccinated, we can get kids back in school. In Canada, makers of the 2 vaccines authorized there have slowed down shipments due to manufacturing delays and demands from Europe, leaving Canada with a severe vaccine shortage. As a matter of fact, I've been reading articles that wealthy Canadians are flying to America and trying to connive their way into getting vaccine shots because there's just none in Canada. Now, in the UK, researchers have found that the Oxford AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine significantly slows down the transmission of the virus. This is the first time it's actually been proven scientific that if you take a vaccine, you're going to slow down the transmission of a virus. We only knew up until this day that if you take a vaccine, it will prevent you from getting coronavirus, but we didn't know, scientifically proven at least, whether even though you don't get coronavirus, you can still carry it and give it to somebody else. And it makes logical sense that if you have the vaccine, that you would slow down the transmission by giving it to other people, as well as preventing yourself from getting it. It has now been proven scientifically true. So people who at least take the AstraZeneca vaccine, it hasn't been proven for the other ones, but we're going to presume it will also prove that as well, that if you do get the vaccine, that you are less likely, I don't know to what extent, but less likely to give COVID to somebody else. Makes sense.
Got you.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah. I didn't know that you could still contract it and pass it with the vaccine, but like you just won't get the actual like symptoms, right? Is that what it is?
Well, you know, what the vaccine does is it prevents the virus from infecting your cells from and then showing symptoms of COVID and getting sick. That doesn't mean the virus isn't swirling around your body. It just means it's not attaching to whatever it needs to attach to in your body to start the actual sickness. So what this scientific study has shown is that even if the virus is circulating around your body, I don't know, you know, I'm being very, very vague on because I'm not a scientist, but assuming that the vaccine, you come into contact with the you come into contact with the virus, you have the vaccine, it's circulating through your body because the virus will still go up your nose. It's not like all of a sudden you have like a block on your nose. It's not like you have cotton up your nose and it doesn't go up your nose. The virus is entering your body somehow, but it's not attaching to anything that makes you sick. That's what these vaccines do. It prevents the virus from attacking you. It's still in your body. And what we've now scientifically determined, at least through the AstraZeneca, is that it also will prevent you from giving this virus to other people, transmitting it.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
Which is all we really want.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I didn't know that, you know, like I'm just worried about, you know, getting the vaccine and then finally going to see, you know, my older family and not knowing that I have it and, you know, still accidentally, you know, transferring it to them if I did have it. So that's good to know that at least it slows that transmission down.
And by the way, I don't know if you saw this in the news, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. There is a female black scientist, and she is at the forefront of the COVID-19 vaccine development. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's leading infectious disease expert, credited Kismika Corbett, during a webinar for her work, saying the vaccine you are going to be taking in the United States was developed by an African-American woman, and that is a fact. Corbett said, to be honest, I didn't realize the level of impact that my visibility might have. I do my work because I love my work. She says that one opportunity in her life made a key difference. She attended the University of Maryland, Baltimore as a Meyerhoff Scholar, an aggressive program that mentors minorities and women in science. Graduates of the program include Surgeon General Jerome Adams. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, so I was brought to my attention. I didn't know that.
Look at us schmoozing and finding out about news.
That's right. Mr.
Learning something
TriCaster
new.
Man, do we have any camels?
Uh-oh, let him out. Let him
It's
out.
Hump Day.
Let's see.
Is he coming out?
Nose out.
I think he's too big to come out the cage, I heard.
Camels anywhere? Camels, camels.
I heard the camels.
There they are. There they are. It's Hump Day. That's right.
It's Hump Day.
He let him out. Let him
All
out.
right. Yep, we're going to start in France, Yo-Yo.
Let's do it. Patty,
All right,
gay
you ready? All right. I'm glad you're wearing a T-shirt. The French police, they broke up 100 people gathered in a warehouse orgy last month in Paris because it broke coronavirus rules. Officers raided the orgy in Collegian, a Paris suburb, on Friday night following reports of men and women meeting for the so-called Libertine Party. A curfew aimed at stopping the spread of COVID is currently in effect across France. The people believed to be organizers were arrested soon after 9 o'clock, and up to 100 people were fined for non-compliance with regulations.
That's trifling.
Trifling.
Yeah, what?
I mean, this is what's in our news today.
Yes.
Well, it's Hump Day.
It's Hump Day. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Poor,
Yeah.
you know, the poor people, at least break it up after it's done. They're already together, right? They've already been together. Let them do their thing and then break it up in the morning. Let them have fun at least, right?
At
Why?
least.
Why? You know, get everybody all excited. 9 o'clock.
They're all riled up.
They're all
right?
wound up and ready to go, and it's 9 o'clock. And you're like, damn, the police showed up already.
Damn. Like, that's funny.
The famed Hollywood sign that overlooks Hollywood briefly read Holly Boob on Monday, and now we know why. Social media influencer Julia Rose says she changed the sign to protest what she sees as censorship of racier content by Instagram. Police arrested Rose and 5 others for trespassing, and park rangers quickly restored the iconic sign to its usual status. Holly Boob. Captain,
change it?
I don't know. Let's find out. Captain Steve Lurie, commanding officer of the LAPD Hollywood area, tweeted Monday, "This was way uncool." That's all he had to say, which is way uncool.
Actually, it is kind of cool.
You think it's cool or uncool?
It's cool.
Vanessa?
For a reason.
That's one heck of a hike. I don't know if any. Well, Yo-Yo, that's your city, but
Yeah, that's
that's a heck of a
that's what
hike
I'm
for
saying.
someone to get up there and move. That is crazy.
Now, in an interview with the Los Angeles Times on Tuesday, Rose said she first came up with the Holly Boob idea last year after Instagram warned her about nudity on her personal and company accounts. What do you think about that nudity on Instagram?
What about it?
I don't know. Yes, no, maybe. Positive,
There's
negative.
too many.
I
Too much access.
think-
There's too many kids there. Not a thing.
Yeah.
I like the way the restrictions are right now.
I mean, I feel like, it's a woman's choice. If she wants to show her body and twerk naked, as long as you put sensitive content, I think it's okay.
I don't know, because there's a lot of kids on Instagram, so there has to be a way to police it. But as long as you can police it and verify you're over age and you realize that you're going to a post or an Instagram influencer that may not have their clothes on, why not?
I think
Right?
I think
Why
the
not?
way you could police it is if you. This is just coming off the dome. If you have to show license in order to say you're 18 and over. So like if you don't show license, then they're just gonna, assume that you were a child.
Right.
And that's when you can't, access this content because that's more policing than on the internet, because if a child has a phone, they could easily just go to Pornhub and say, yes, I'm an adult. But this is also a way for people to make money, just like OnlyFans. Like they have like their Cash App on the bottom, they twerk on live, and that's how they're making their living. So why stop?
Or there's badges now. They can get badged or stars, like we saw on Facebook.
You know
what I'm saying?
You know what? I would say Instagram would make money from this. So I don't know why they wouldn't do that. All right. Meanwhile, we have to go to the UK because a husband in the United Kingdom, check this one out. This is kind of funny. A husband in the United Kingdom has gone viral after giving his wife of 14 years an end-of-the-year annual review. Chris Stars took full-time stay-at-home mom Sophie out for a pub lunch where he presented her with a 2-page document grading her performance in their marriage as if he was an employer. The report included grades for 18 aspects of their home life, including her bedroom performance. Among his comments, Chris poked fun at his wife's unwillingness to accept criticism and her conflict resolution skills. The father of 5 wrapped up his jaw-dropping review with a performance improvement plan. Well, that's not so funny. I think this is rude. Sophie has since joked that her partner was wise to do the review in public. She continued to say that she was flattered to see that she's been graded excellent on certain topics. Chris did not go into too much detail about the review, but did reveal he was very complimentary to his wife's skills in bed. I say I give Chris an F as a husband. What do you think? He gets an F.
I agreed. Yeah. What?
Yeah,
well, that's
the
UK.
Yeah, I give him an F. I give him an F for being rude to his wife. I give him an F for doing this publicly. I give him and I give him an F for not talking with his wife and having a discussion about things that she could improve on and not making this a business transaction.
That's disgusting.
Disgusting, right?
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah.
I thought it was funnier when I was about to read it because I don't see these beforehand.
And then
it went right down. All right, and finally, we got to get to our immigration questions. But finally, what happened to my? Here we are. Finally, for just $5, the San Antonio Zoo is going to name a cockroach after your former significant other and feed it to a bird, reptile, or mammal for Cry Me a Cockroach for Valentine's Day. So you want to get back at your ex? Name a cockroach at the San Antonio Zoo, and that cockroach is going to get eaten.
I absolutely love this idea.
$20 to have a cockroach named after your ex and have them eat it at the San Antonio Zoo.
That's all it was worth. I mean, that's all they're worth.
I'm sure you'll get some kind of, enjoyment, some type of gratification out of watching a roach with your ex's name getting eaten.
Now, jilted lovers have until February 13th at 6 p.m. to register on the zoo's website. The money raised, it's $20. The money raised from the Cry Me a Cockroach event will go towards expanding the zoo's jaguar habitat. All right. That was our hump day. That was a very G-rated hump day today.
I love a G-rated hump day.
You like a G-rated hump day?
I do.
Do you really?
My life is already too X-rated to show to the public.
You need this 15 you need this 15 minutes of G rating, right? Because the other 6 days, 23 hours and 45 minutes is a little more than G.
There you go.
All right. So I'm glad we were able to give you a break.
I feel great.
All right. In today's Braducation, I'm going to answer the question, what is a bona fide marriage? Let's watch. And if we don't watch it, that's fine too, because I could just tell you what a bona fide marriage is and we'll find out. There we go.
My immigration story was I'm a refugee from Somalia, came to America with a few dollars in my pocket and a hope.
Everybody always asks me, what's a bona fide marriage? Well, a bona fide marriage is a marriage where you live in the same home as your spouse every day and you have a financial relationship with them. What's a financial relationship? You have the same bank account, a joint bank account, and the money you earn and the money your spouse earns goes in that bank account. And from that bank account, you pay all your bills, including your joint tax returns. Voila, bona fide marriage. Voila, I'm back. Let's do. I didn't realize I was going to be back so fast. All right, let's do. You got a question? I'll give you an answer in getting answers to your immigration questions. Getting answers. There we go. All right, let's go to Michelle in Richmond, Virginia. Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Michelle.
Hi,
Michelle.
hello.
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I'm happy for what you're doing. You're doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you very much.
First of all,
appreciate it.
I have a question. My parents are visiting. Okay.
Right.
I'm in the process of getting my citizenship. However, it was delayed because they had already scheduled me, but I guess the rescheduling process is going on.
Right.
They actually reached out to me. I have an interview coming up for it. Question to you is, it's my mom and my stepdad.
Right.
So, would I be able to file for them here in the United States if they're present?
If they're visiting, you can, and you become a citizen, you can file for the adjustment for your mom. Yes, but you got to wait to become a citizen. Your stepdad, if your mom married your stepdad before you turned 18, you would be able to file for him as well. If not, you would not. So the question is, when did they get married?
Oh, well, they got married about 4 years ago.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 34.
Okay.
34.
So the answer is you cannot file for your stepdad. Only your mom would get a green card. Your stepdad would end up overstaying for a substantial period of time, wait on your mother to get her green card, and then your mother would have to turn around and file for him as a resident, which will also take several years, unfortunately.
Oh, so my mom would have to file for him.
Right. After she gets through.
Okay.
Because the only time you can file, the only time you're considered a stepchild of a man who is not, or a woman who is not your biological parent, is if the biological parent married the non-biological parent before your 18th birthday.
Okay, and with regards to the Biden situation that he's trying to come out with, would he be able to do that part, or?
Well, if he was right now, we don't know what they're going to be coming out with. They have not actually presented to the world their legislation. All we have heard so far is what's been reported in the news, which is that if you were out of status on January 1st, 2021, and you were physically in the United States, you would be eligible to get some sort of conditional status through an amnesty that will eventually turn into a green card in 5 years. So the first question is was he out of status on January 1st? And you're going to tell me, no, he's here on a visitor's visa. But that, you can still, in the old amnesty from Ronald Reagan time, what people would do is that when they were here in legal status on a visitor's visa or on a student visa, they would then admit that they had worked while on their visas when they were not allowed to work, and that then made them out of status. They violated their visa status and then made them eligible for an amnesty. I'm sure many people will start admitting they were working while on a legal visa that didn't allow them to work to show that they violated their status to get an amnesty. I'm sure people will be doing that.
Okay, and so you're saying once my mom get her 10 years, then she would be able to do his paperwork then?
Assuming the law doesn't change, correct. Everything, okay. The law, if we believe that the law is going to change, everything I'm telling you is out the window, so we'll have to see.
Okay.
All right.
And how long does it take when I do it for my parents, like for my mom, sorry, how long does that process take?
In Virginia, I would say about a year from the start to finish, from the time you put the papers in to adjust.
And can you do it?
Yes.
Because you're in New York, can you do it for us?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I'm allowed, as an immigration attorney admitted in the state of New York, I'm allowed to practice it with the Immigration Service in all 50 states and every embassy around the world. So I can do it in all 50 states and around the world. And what the Immigration Service does now, in the past, we used to have to fly to Virginia or drive to Virginia or fly to California or fly to Texas to go for interviews. But now what the Immigration Service allows, both in court and for immigration interviews at USCIS, is they allow the lawyer to be there telephonically or by a video conference. So while we're in our office in New York by telephone or video conference representing you, before the judge or before the Immigration Service, you're physically there. So we can do it in all 50 states, and we do it straight from New York.
Okay.
Right.
I appreciate you.
Right,
and another question.
Yes.
What's the affidavit? Like, I know I have to have make a certain amount of money for like filing for my mom. How much would that have to be?
Depends on how many people you have to support.
I have 2 kids.
And are you married?
Yes.
All right, so you're a family of 4.
Right.
All right, so as a family of 4, this is the general rule of thumb. Start at $20,000 for you sponsoring somebody too. Okay, and now your 3 additional people add $4,000 per person, so that's 4, 8, 12, 32,000.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll be reaching out to your office.
Okay, be well.
Bye-bye.
Janet in Atlanta. Janet.
Hello.
Hi, Janet. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. I was waiting a long time.
I see. Yes. All right. What can I do to help you?
Okay, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Maybe 3. My first question is, I have an interview coming up for citizenship and green card.
So you have an I-751, and you also then put in for the citizenship to remove the conditions and your citizenship.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, I have both interviews at the same day.
Okay.
I'm kind of nervous because I don't know what it's gonna, what they're gonna ask. Whatever.
Well, they're going to ask for proof that you and your spouse are in a bona fide marriage. That's what they're going to ask.
Okay.
All right. So all the evidence that you would need to prove that you and your spouse live together. So you've watched my show before, I assume. This is not your first day you've ever watched the show, right? Okay. So you've heard me say what a bona fide marriage is. I'll repeat it to you. You bring documents to prove you live together. You bring documents to prove you have a financial relationship. You bring both. Live together,
I have all that.
So
we have 2 kids together.
you bring it all in. Okay? So they're going to conduct both the I-751 and citizenship at the same time. So the first thing they're going to want to do is prove you live together in a bona fide marriage, because you're doing your citizenship based on 3 years of having a conditional green card. And you also have to remove the conditions. So that evidence of the bona fide marriage is going to be used for the I-751. They got to do that first, interview you on that. Okay, they're now satisfied you're in a bona fide marriage. Now you're approved for the I-751. Let's get to the citizenship. Then they're going to start asking you all the questions about citizenship. And they're going to ask you to take the test for, they're going to go through the entire application. All the questions you answered, yes and no, they're going to go through it again with you. They're going to make sure that you haven't been outside the United States for more than 6 months at a time, that you've been physically living here for 18 out of the last 36 months. They're going to want to know, give you the test on U.S. government and history. They're going to want to know that you can read and write, that you're going to take an oath of allegiance to the United States of America. So they're going to conduct 2 interviews at the same exact time.
Oh, wow.
All right.
The next thing I wanted to ask, they specific that my husband should come along with an interview. If it happens that he doesn't want to go, or it is a must that he has to go?
Okay. Well, if he doesn't want to go, then you got a big problem in your marriage. All right.
Okay.
Because he has to go to prove you filed a joint application to remove the conditions of your permanent residence. So if he doesn't go, the person half the person, 2 people signed this application. So half the application doesn't show up. So you're going to get denied. And if he doesn't care enough for you to go, then obviously, we don't have to be, Sigmund Freud to tell you that you got a problem in your marriage. And now you got to start thinking about what's best for you. Because if he's not going to go, you're going to be denied the I-751 and the citizenship. And if you're denied the I-751, you're going to get put in deportation. Because that's the next step after that. So if he doesn't want...
Even in a case where you just want to be stubborn,
This is not a time to be stubborn playing with your life.
Okay.
There's a time to be stubborn to say, you know what? I don't want to go to the movies tonight. You go yourself. You know what? I don't want to buy you XYZ. I don't want to buy you this skirt or this shirt. We spent enough money. Those are stubborn times between husband and wife. Okay? The time when you're being cruel to your spouse is if you really love this person and you say, I'm not going to go on your immigration interview. Because right after that, you're getting your spouse deported. And now you're changing your life and her life completely. And that's cruel. So that's not being stubborn anymore. That's just being, I don't want to say a jerk, but let's call it what it is. So, at that point, Janet has to do what's best for herself. Now, there's no law that says that you have to stay in an unhappy marriage. So, to get your green card. The law says is that if you filed a joint application with your spouse, you and him have to show up. But if he's not going to show up, then the solution is one of two. You got to convert that case. And you have to convert the case either to, my husband's not showing up because I'm an abused spouse. And if that's the case, why are you living with him? Or two, my husband's not showing up. I started a divorce. We're terminating our marriage. And then you complete it on your own. Those are the different ways that you can complete your case without him. What you can't do is just show up on a joint application, say, my husband's not showing up, he's being stubborn. They'll deny you and you'll be in deportation. Go tell a judge. All right, so hold on. I think you need help, all right? Let's go to Deborah in Orlando, Florida. Deborah.
Hello, good night.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Brad, I'm okay.
What's going on?
Thank you for taking my call. My question is, my daughter, she's in Trinidad right now.
Right.
And her green card expired in December 2020. She's unable to get an appointment at the Trinidad embassy, right? Well, the U.S. embassy in Trinidad. What can she do? Can you do anything for her?
Yeah, we can help her try to get an appointment. How long has she been out of the country?
Over a year.
Okay, that's the problem. So the reason they're doing it is because they're saying she abandoned her green card. Now, it could be because of COVID and she wasn't able to come back, and then they wouldn't schedule her. So she has lots of reasons why she was out for more than a year. But she would, at this point, need to apply for something called an SB1 visa. So it's not.
What can you repeat that?
SB1. Okay.
SB1.
S is in Spar, B is in Bernstein 1, but it's not the Spar Bernstein visa, but they call it an SB1 visa. It has nothing to do with Spar Bernstein. It just has the same exact initials as our law firm. And what you do is you show, it's not my fault I stayed out of the country for more than a year, because if you stay out of the country for more than a year, you abandoned your green card.
Exactly.
And it's not my fault. I have a good reason. So here's my good reason. There's COVID. I couldn't get an appointment. Maybe she had health issues. Maybe she was in school. I don't know. Whatever, all of her reasons, she dumps it in. And then the second part of that application process is, I never abandoned my permanent residence. I still got stuff back in America. I got my family, my mom. Maybe I have an apartment, a home, a car, a bank account, things that indicate that I intend to return to the United States. I never intended to stay out for a year.
Well, she don't even have a job here. She don't work here or anything.
It doesn't matter about working. It's about what did she leave behind. So we would need to have a conversation with her and you about doing the SB1 visa and then getting her that appointment in Trinidad. So because other than that, the longer she's out, the more unlikely it is to get the SB1 visa.
Okay.
All right, so hold on one second. Priscilla in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Priscilla.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
I'm blessed, thank you.
Good.
I
What's
think
going on?
you deserve a Nobel Peace Prize or something.
Thank you very much. Nobody nominated me, but maybe next year. Thank you.
I did.
Okay.
I did nominate you, and I'm not joking.
Thank you, Priscilla, but the nomination is from a Norwegian guy or woman from the Norwegian Parliament, so we got to get in touch with one of them to nominate me. But thank you nevertheless. All right.
Okay.
So what's going on?
So, Mike, I have two questions for you.
Yes.
I'm a green card holder, and
Yes.
I filed for my spouse since 2018, and it got approved as of last week. I only filed the I-130. That was all I have filed. And I got a mail that it was approved. So I want to know what's the next step after that, because the letter said if you don't hear from us from 45 days from now, you should contact us. I just want to know what I'm to do.
Where is your spouse? Let's start there.
Nigeria.
Okay. So the case, does it say on the approval notice that the case was transferred to the National Visa Center?
Yes.
Okay. So you will hear from the National Visa Center. It takes about 8 weeks from the approval. And the National Visa Center should be sending you information about who's your attorney, who's going to be handling the case at the National Visa Center. Do you have an attorney? Do you have an agent? Are you going to be doing it on your own?
I'm doing it on my own.
Okay, so you'll check that box off. You'll send it back to the National Visa Center, and that will start the process. If 8, 9 weeks, maybe because of COVID, 10 weeks happens, and you still haven't heard anything, then you need to get an attorney involved.
Will they be sending it via email or via mail?
Both.
Both. Okay. Okay. So, will the email that was sent, would it be for me or for the one for my spouse?
I don't know what you put down, but your spouse should be getting something, you should be getting something, and you should be getting an email.
Okay. All right. Second question. When I become a citizen, I want to file for my mother who is here and has overstayed her visa. What forms do I have to file?
When you have a pending citizenship right now?
Yeah, I already did my interview
okay, so it's almost momentarily then.
Yeah.
So you're going to file an I-485. How'd your mom come to the United States? Let's start there. She came on a visa?
She's here.
On a visa?
Huh?
She came on a visa?
Yeah, she came on B2.
Okay,
Is it B2
and
or B1?
how long ago?
She came in 17.
Okay, fine. All right, so she's over
2017.
Got it. All right, so you're going to file an I-45, an I-130, an I-864, an I-944, an I-765, and I-131.
And I what? What was the last I?
I-131.
Okay.
All right.
All right. One last question.
Yes.
So if I become a citizen before my spouse gets here, does that thing of the 3 years still cover him in terms of, does he still get to file his citizenship after 3 years of coming here?
Yes.
Okay, but if he comes here, because what they said pending in the USCIS website that I checked my citizenship, they said by August. What if he gets here before August and I'm still a green card holder? Does he still get to file in 3 years?
It's unlikely that'll happen. I'm sure you'll be a citizen before he gets here. But let's assume he gets here before you're a citizen. He does not get to file 3 years from the day he gets here, but he would file for his citizenship 3 years from the day you become a citizen. Because what the law says is, if you have a green card and you live with a U.S. citizen for 3 years in a bona fide marriage, you can file your citizenship. So,
3 years.
So the 3 years would start on the day you become a citizen.
Oh, okay, got it. So does it mean that means 2 years and 9 months? I start the process.
2 years, 9 months, and 3 days.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Welcome,
every single day I learn a lot from you, and you're a genius, you're good at what you do. God bless you so much.
Thank you very much. Your compliments get you very far. We like you very much. Thank you. Take care.
Bye, sir.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, Jenny in Orlando. Jenny.
Hi,
Jenny. How are you? How you doing?
I'm okay. Continue keeping up the good work you're doing, Uncle Brad.
My pleasure.
You teach me so much different stuff.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, my question to you is, how do you know if your interview go well? Your interview notice for a green card.
How do you know?
And at the end of the interview, how would you know that yes, the interview went well and they will grant you?
Well, sometimes they'll tell you the interview went well, we're going to grant you. And sometimes they'll say we need to review everything. When they say they need to review everything, that's not a ringing endorsement that your green card's in the mail tomorrow. So those are like key words they use. Nobody ever, and sometimes it goes so bad that they tell the petitioner or the beneficiary, you better withdraw the application. So those three things could happen. They could tell you, yeah, it went great, we're going to approve you, congratulations. Or then 9 out of 10, you're getting your green card, very shortly. They can say, we're reviewing everything. That means you'll probably get your green card, but, they're reviewing it. We'll find out. Or they can say, you know what, I got to speak to my supervisor, or you better withdraw it. Now you have a problem when they're speaking to supervisors, so you got to withdraw it.
Okay, so what if they say, I'm going to send you a reply notice in the mail after your interview, and that
means that they have questions about whatever they interviewed you on. And
sorry?
That means they have questions about what they interviewed you on, and they're either going to send you, I don't know what happened, they're going to either send you an RFE, which is they want additional evidence, or they're going to send you a NOID, which is a notice of intent to deny, saying, these are the reasons we're going to deny you. What do you got to say about it? You got 30 days.
Okay.
All right. So that's what based on what they told you, and that you're telling me, that my expectation is that you would get either a NOID, which is a notice of intent to deny, and that would give an explanation of what the problems they have with your case, and then they give you 30 days to respond and try to overcome those problems. Or they're going to ask for an RFE, which is a request for further evidence, which says you're missing documents, please send it to us. I don't know what happened, but it'll be one of those two then.
Okay, Uncle Brad. So
now, lastly, when you get that RFE or that NOID, you're at the end, which means you better do it right this time, because after that, you're going to get denied. So, when you get that letter, make sure you have somebody who knows what they're doing look at it.
Okay. Another question.
Yes.
If you get that and you're out of the country, out of the U.S., and you get denied, is there will you possibly get a re-entry?
If you're out of the country and you get denied, would you? Well, you mean to tell me that you left the United States with a provisional waiver to go home, get your green card, and you got denied? Will you be able to come back?
Where you have an advanced parole.
If you have advanced parole, you'll be allowed back.
Even though you're denied?
Yes, they'll let you back in, but they'll put you in deportation.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
Hold on,
Jenny, if you need help. Victor in Arlington, Texas. Victor. Going once.
Hello,
Victor. How are you?
I'm fine.
What can I do to help you?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoy your program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine. He filed his application. He filed 130 and 176. 165.
Don't give me numbers. Just what's your question?
Okay, my question is this. After he's filing his application, they now arrest him for DUI, DWI.
Right.
So they take him to the station. He get a bail bond of $500, and the immigration now pick him from there to immigration. So immigration give him a bond too, $5,000. He paid that one. So because I'm the one that take his wife to the immigration in Dallas.
Right.
So to pay the $5,000. Right. So his wife that is married is the one that paid the bond.
Right.
So now they now give him the letter for fingerprint for his work authorization something. And is that DWI going to affect his resident permit or what?
Yes, it's affecting everything. Number one, he's not going to get a work permit while he has a pending DUI or DWI case. So they're going to withhold issuing the work permit. Number two, DWI is deportable, DUI is not, although DUI tends to make people believe you don't have good moral character. So he's going to have a moral character issue to adjust his status. And part of the adjustment of status application is prove to us you have good moral character, but now you have this DUI that says you're not a person of good moral character. So you're going to have to overcome that. The reason why immigration came to pick him up for deportation is because he doesn't have a green card yet. So although he filed an adjustment of status, he wasn't put in deportation because he had been convicted of a crime, because he had not been convicted of a crime. He just got arrested. So getting an arrest doesn't necessarily make you deportable, but the fact is that you have a pending adjustment doesn't make you legal to stay in America. Immigration put him in removal. However, immigration never puts people in removal in most of these situations, because if you have a pending adjustment, the judge is going to give you the adjustment of status anyway, so it'd be a waste of time to do it. But in this particular case, because he got arrested, they did it anyway. So now he has to adjust his status before a judge. He's going to have to prove good moral character. Hopefully it's not a DWI and it's a DUI, or maybe something less. And he's not going to get a work permit until it's all resolved. So he's got issues, and I hope he's got a good lawyer.
Okay. Is he going to get the work authorization?
I just said no.
Okay.
Because he has a pending case. Hold on. Let's go to Angelique in Long Beach, California. Angelique.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
My husband and I just recently got married, and then we filed our documents.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I had left my daughter back in my country with my niece. So I was wondering, should I wait until I get my green card, or can I petition for them now?
How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 8 and my niece is 9.
Well, you can't petition for a niece, but you can petition for your daughter.
Okay.
Where are these children?
They're in Africa.
Okay. Now your niece, where's her biological parents?
Yeah, they're with my sister, who is also her biological mom. But they've never been separated from birth.
That doesn't matter. So you can file for your child, your husband can file for your child, but even though they have a close bond, the biological relationship, there's no filing for niece, and you can't argue, well, they have a close bond, so we want her to come too.
So my husband is one that has to file?
Your husband would file as a stepfather just for your child.
What if my husband decides to adopt the both of them?
Your husband wouldn't have to adopt any of them, because your husband would file as a stepfather for your biological child. No adoptions required. If your husband is going to go to Africa and adopt a niece, he'll never get the child here, because the husband has to prove that he lived in the same home as the niece for 2 years, which never happened.
Yes.
Now, you conceivably lived in the same house with this niece for 2 years, correct?
Yeah, for 8 years.
For 8 years. So what you should do right now is start the process of becoming the niece's legal guardian.
Okay.
Because you have to get legal guardianship of the child, and for 2 years, and then adopt the child and prove you've had legal guardianship and you lived in the same house for 2 years. So you have one of three for you to file for the child, which is you lived in the same house for 2 years. But you need legal guardianship for 2 years and an adoption before 16. So you should be the one doing it, not your husband, the actual adoption of this niece. As far as, and the reason why your husband doesn't do it, because people say, well, he's the U.S. citizen. Well, he's never lived with the child, so you can't do it as a straight adoption, because you need 2 years living in the same household. He's not going to move back to Africa for 2 years to live with this child. Or you can do it as an orphan petition, but you just finished telling me they live with the biological mother. So, and the mother's taking care of them, and they're not, they don't seem to have any issues there. So the child's not an orphan. So the only way to do it is for you, the woman who lived in the household with the niece for 2 years, to do a guardianship, get legal guardianship of this child. You need legal guardianship for 2 years, living in the same house for 2 years, and an adoption before 16.
Okay. And is it possible for me, to invite them on holidays?
You can, but they'll be turned down.
Why?
Because they're not going to show the ability. They're not going to show any proof that they have that they're going to go back to Africa.
Oh, okay.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let's go to Owen in Brooklyn. Owen. 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 Go in. Owen. How are you?
Very good. This is Wayne.
Yes. What's going on?
Yes. So, quick question. I'm going to try to make this short.
Yes.
So, the father overstayed his B2 visa. The son is in the Caribbean. If he going to apply for a B2 visa, is he going to get turned down?
How old's the son?
14.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Abby in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Abby.
Hello, Uncle Brad.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for all you do.
My pleasure.
Now, my question is, there are so many proposed amnesty, but there's one that you mentioned that has to do with people who are out of status, but were here from January 2021. Something will be considered for them to put them in status, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So could we say that somebody who is in the process of adjusting the status through marriage is also under that category?
Good question. We'll find out what the law says. We don't know yet.
Sorry?
Good question. My presumption is yes. If I had to take a guess right now, the answer is yes. But it is a guess because we haven't seen the law yet.
Okay, well, I get it. Meaning nothing is certain.
Nothing is certain, right. Not only is nothing certain, but they haven't even shown us what the law is. Everything I've discussed so far is what has been publicly announced in a newspaper.
Yeah.
So we haven't even seen the fine print of what the law says yet.
All right.
All right. So presumably, yes. I would think yes. But until I see the law, I don't know for a fact.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's it. Yeah. Bye.
Messe in Tracy, California. Messe.
How you doing, Mr. Brad?
How are you?
Good. Thank you for doing this before I start.
My pleasure. What's going on?
I applied for naturalization, but I was charged with PC 484 in 2009.
I don't know what's PC 284. I have no idea what that is.
It's petty theft in California.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, when I go to my interview, should I have a lawyer? From everything I read online, it seems to be okay, but I was confused.
Let's go back a little bit. You're going for your green card, or you're going for citizenship?
Citizenship.
Okay. When did you get your green card?
2008.
Okay. And how did you get your green card?
I came through my dad. My dad's been here before me.
Okay. And how old were you when you got your green card?
I was 19 or 18.
And where did you come from?
Ethiopia.
And when you came here, you were not living before here in America and then adjusted your status. You just came straight with your immigrant visa and got your green card as a following to join?
Correct.
Okay. And then 1 year later, you got arrested for this petty offense, theft. What happened with the case? What was the end result?
So the end result was I went to this class and then was dismissed. But I can still look at it.
Does it say something about a pretrial diversion? Do you remember something to that effect?
No.
Okay, but you went to a class and it was dismissed.
Correct.
And then you've had no other issues.
Correct.
And you're doing your citizenship now.
Yes.
Okay.
My
Based on what you're telling me now, I'm not looking at the disposition, and I'm not, familiar off the top of my head with every section of the California Penal Code. But based on what you're telling me, it's either one of two things: either you were found guilty of a petty offense, and that's perfectly fine, and you'll still get your citizenship because you have 5 years good moral character, or you were arrested for a petty offense. You went through a pretrial diversion program, which is take this class and we'll dismiss the charges. That's what it sounds like what you're describing to me. And then basically what you have is an arrest and a dismissal. And then you don't have any criminal conviction, although you have an arrest record, which you still have to present. Either way, it sounds to me that you're going to become a U.S. citizen.
Oh, okay. I should then take a lawyer with me, nothing like that, right?
Listen, it's always good to have a lawyer go with you, but based on what you're telling me, it sounds like you're going to be okay. Now, I haven't seen the documents. I'm basing it on what you're telling me.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate
You're very
you.
welcome. Let's go to Precious in Plainfield, Illinois. Precious.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing, Uncle Brad?
Very good. What's going on?
Okay, so I do have 3 concerns. The first one, my younger brother in Ukraine wants to transfer his medical transfer to the U.S. to continue his medical degree. And also a family friend from Ghana wants to come over and they want to stay over at mine. But I'm a little concerned that the immigration might deny the F1 visa just because they have someone over here and they might think they have no intent of leaving after graduation. I do not know what you recommend I do in that regard because I do not want them to be denied an F1 visa.
What is your status here?
I'm on CO9.
Okay, so you have a pending adjustment. So I would, if they ask, do you have any family? I have my sister there and she's adjusting her status. And I think that would be okay.
Okay. All right. And also the second question is, I'm still married to my abuser and, low key, I'm hoping that we are able to resolve, but I cannot predict what is going on because apparently he has sort of blocked me out of his life. I don't know if that is temporarily or permanent.
Let me ask you something, Precious.
Okay.
Are you filing an adjustment through marriage or you're filing an adjustment as an abused spouse?
Abused spouse.
Okay. Why, if the man blocked you and was abusive, why would you ever want to go back to that situation? I mean, I know love is love, so there's an emotional component to all of this, but from a logical standpoint, and when you are an abused spouse, you have to think logically, not emotionally. From a logical standpoint, even low key, why would you ever want to go back to a situation where a man blocks you on a phone, doesn't allow you in his life, was abusive to you, and put you in a very bad situation? Because quite frankly, what I've learned from my vast experiences, people don't change. They are who they are.
Yeah.
So I'm not a therapist. I'm not Dr. Phil. Just give it some thought. All right? But I think your brother will be okay.
Okay.
All right? Good luck.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Omar in Lexington, Kentucky. Omar.
Yes, hello. My name is Omar. Thank you very much, Brad, for taking my call.
My pleasure.
So, so I do have a pending asylum case since 2015, and I heard about the new bill, and I was very hopeful. But do you think that I have to wait all over again, like in case the bill was admitted? Or maybe the time I waited for 6 years now, maybe counted for some, because I'm a certified teacher now, I'm a doctoral student. Will that help out?
So what you're asking, are you going to be qualified for the amnesty? Is that your question?
Yes. like in case this bill is approved, do I have to like wait all over again?
Well, it depends. It depends. The answer is yes, but it depends what you're going to qualify for. I don't know what your asylum case is for. So, for example, if you have a really strong asylum case and you've been waiting 6 years,
I have strong asylum case.
Then what you should be doing is
I believe.
Okay. Then what you should be doing is having it reviewed by a lawyer, making sure that the lawyer feels it's a strong case. And then, if it is a strong case, I wouldn't wait for an amnesty. I would be filing a mandamus. You've been waiting 6 years to have an asylum interview. So you file a mandamus.
File what? I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you well. I would file
You file a mandamus or a threat of a mandamus. A mandamus is a lawsuit in federal court for demanding the U.S. government do their job, which is to interview you in a timely manner. Waiting 6 years to interview you for asylum is not interviewing you in a timely manner. It's actually a violation of your rights, because under the law, you're entitled to an interview, not to wait 6 years for it. So if you have a very strong case, you threaten a mandamus or do a mandamus, and then the government will interview you, because they don't want to go to court and litigate, whether they violated your rights or not with when they scheduled you for an asylum. They'll say, all right, screw it, give them an interview. And if you get an interview, this is the issue. You better be damn sure you're going to pass that interview, because if not, they're going to put you in deportation. That's why I said you better have a strong case. So
that's why I have no option. I mean,
if that's the
why
case,
I waited.
I would just do that and not worry about any amnesty.
Right.
But to answer your question, do you get any credit in time for waiting 6 years for asylum if they give an amnesty? The answer is no. What you should be saying is, thank you for giving me an amnesty. I'll wait that in the next 5 years, because that's what it's going to be.
Right. Okay, and I have another thing. I got a J1 waiver because I came on a J1 case. Right. And I have won the 2020 lottery, but was blocked. So I got the J1 waiver late. After September, I applied for the green card, and they say you are too late. And I heard about Gomez case. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So do you think that's helpful anyway, or
you just told me you've been filing for asylum for the last 6 years?
Yes.
So how are you applying for a green card? You've been out of status.
Because I have won the lottery. That's 2020.
So what? You're out of status. You can't adjust.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
I missed that.
You misunderstood. Hold on. Debbie in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for taking my call.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
I am doing great.
What's going on?
So I've been here since 2016. I'm a green card holder. So my plan is to go ahead and file for naturalization for citizenship. I have a soon-to-be 7-year-old in the next few days, and my husband. Question is, when do I have to file for my citizenship first and get it approved before I can file for my 7-year-old?
Your 7-year-old is where?
She's here with me.
Okay, so
she also has a green card.
Okay, so the answer is yes, but let me give a little better explanation so you understand. A 7-year-old cannot naturalize. You could only naturalize over the age of 18. And the reason is because you have to take an oath of allegiance to the United States of America, and somebody under the age of 18 isn't capable of making that decision of whether they want to take an oath of allegiance to the United States of America. Now, what the law says is under the Child Citizenship Act of 2000 is that if you are a child living with a parent in their legal and physical custody with a green card under the age of 18, and the parent becomes a citizen, that child automatically becomes a citizen too. So the moment you naturalize and swear and take that oath of allegiance to the United States of America, because your child has a green card, lives with you in your legal and physical custody, that child automatically becomes a U.S. citizen by operation of law. That child does not have to take an oath of allegiance to the United States. That child is a U.S. citizen. So the day you naturalize, automatically your child becomes a citizen. The issue now becomes child doesn't have any proof that she's a U.S. citizen. So then at that point, you would file an N-600, which is for a certificate of citizenship, and for a U.S. passport for her at the same time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. Let's, last call of the day. Design in Magnetic Spring, Ohio. Design.
Hi.
Hi, how are
my
you?
name is... Design. Good.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Actually, I have a question about my brother. He was deported back in 1993, I believe. I'm not sure why he was deported, and I am not exactly because I was very, very little. And I tried getting information, and no one gave me any information. We were moved to a small town when we did that.
Did he commit a crime?
He, you know what? He was trapped by some of young teenagers with, you know.
There's an easy way to
substance and
find
stuff.
out. It's called an EOIR FOIA. And what
Okay.
you do, it's a Freedom of Information Act request, and you request, EOIR is the Executive Office of Immigration Review. That's the agency that runs the immigration courts. And
Okay.
you ask the Executive Office for Immigration Review to send a copy under the Freedom of his file, under the Freedom of Information Act request, and you review it, and you see why he got deported.
Okay. Is there any information do I need to get from the country that he's in right now?
Just
also?
if he has an alien registration number, it would make it a lot easier to figure out, get his file.
Okay. And where do I get the freedom of information?
You literally write the court where he got deported from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much,
You're very
and
welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a good day.
My pleasure. All right, so where are we at now? By the way, if you didn't get an opportunity to get your immigration questions asked and answered, we're going to get into social media check-in in about 1 minute or so, but you could also follow me on Instagram at RealBradBernstein. If you follow me on Instagram at RealBradBernstein, you can drop me a DM and I will try to answer your immigration question as best as I can. You can also follow us at Bradshaw Live, as I say every show. If you can handle 2 hours of Bradshaw Live, but you can handle 2 minutes of me or 2 minutes of Yo-Yo or 2 minutes of Boss Lady, then follow us on Instagram at Bradshaw Live for the best 2 minutes of Bradshaw Live. And Yo-Yo and Vanessa.
Yes, you guys can follow me at Jonathan Elias TV on Instagram.
And you guys can find me at Vanessa.Contreras TV.
And later in the show, I'm going to play a game of Bradified Marriage with a couple who went from Tinder to I Do in just 2 weeks. And their whirlwind romance includes preparing for their Stokes interview. They were really going on a Stokes interview. And they were going on an immigration interview. And we prepared them live on Bradshaw Live. At least we played a little game with them. We didn't really prepare them, but we played a little game with them to see if they would be prepared for their interview. They thought they were going to do very well. Let's see how well they did with the Bradified Marriage game. But in the meantime, Yo-Yo.
Yes, that's awesome. And so now before social media check-in, you already know it's time for What's Your Immigration Story? This is where we take a look at some of the many different personal immigration stories people have shared with us.
My immigration story was a refugee from Somalia, came to America with a few dollars in my pocket and a hope. Went to school, college, graduated, and tried to get a better bite of American dream.
My mom actually came to New York, but when she was about 19, her mom actually lived in Puerto Rico up until she passed away.
My great-grandparents came here from Trinidad, or the British West Indies as it was called, in the early 1900s. They moved straight to Harlem in a tenement. My mom was a reserve in the Army and met my dad, who's an American. They had me here in 1985, one of 5 boys. I'm a proud third-generation Trinidadian American.
Bangladesh, I come 1998. I come from here, the tourist visa, student visa, and I go school here. Plus, I do working as a restaurant management. I work 9 years in the manager. Then we quit the job. We save some money, and husband and wife together, we open this own business.
The year 1989. It's like my whole family is here. From my grandparents down, it's like, the U.S. is my country. It's like, I don't know nothing really about China right now.
Somebody married me and brought me here.
I was here. I was qualified for the amnesty. So I did the amnesty. I brought all my children. It's immigrants who built this country. Even my great-great-great-great-grandfather is among them. That is why we follow up.
We love America. God bless America. Yeah. We are so grateful we're here.
All right, let's do something we like to call social media check-in. There we go. All right, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, what do we got?
All right, our first one comes from Doreen King on YouTube. I'm from Jamaica, visiting my little sister. How can I get an extension to stay until she's done with her treatments?
I don't know what her treatments are, but you could always apply for an extension of your tourist visa on an I-539.
Andres IT Service on YouTube. If I have an F4 approval and I have to get out for an interview, but I am getting an DED, do I need to get out of the country for an interview?
If you have to get out for an interview, and your DED is deferred enforced departure. So what? Ask the question again.
So if I have an F4 approval, do I have to leave for an interview?
I understand. Okay. So he got sponsored by a brother or sister. If you're not in status, you would have to, and you're not 245I, you would have to go home. But it's not a deferred enforced departure. You would need a provisional waiver. You can only get a provisional waiver through a parent or a spouse. You can't get it through a brother or sister. So hopefully you have a brother, you have a parent or spouse that can do the provisional waiver. Other than that, you can't get your green card through the F4.
Okay, Barbara Lord on Facebook. How long after your fingerprints fee is received you can expect to get a letter for your biometrics?
Depends on what application you're processing, depends on what state you're in, because COVID protocols are different all over the place. Pre-COVID, you filed an adjustment citizenship, your biometrics came 8 weeks later. Now they're coming 3-4 months later, perhaps, or not coming at all, because sometimes if the government already has your biometrics taken, they're going to use your old ones. They're not even going to ask you to come back and do it again.
Lolita Daly on Facebook. What does Executive Office for Immigration Review stand? What does it mean?
It stands for the Executive Office for Immigration Review. It's the immigration judges and the Board of Immigration Appeals.
Katrina Carter Desimone on YouTube. Can filing for unemployment affect removing conditions off your green card?
No. Go get your unemployment.
Young King's Lifestyle. What about a spouse that is married to a U.S. citizen? Do you know what the update is on USCIS? Any proclamation of some sort?
No update. It's still the same as it was a week ago or a month ago or 2 months ago.
Okay, Yerne Olos on Facebook. I'm pregnant and my husband is awaiting for his citizenship, but is treating me badly and has not yet put in my papers. What can I do?
Well, I don't know what treating badly is, but if there's physical abuse or extreme emotional abuse, you should be filing a VAWA case.
Kunta Kinte on YouTube. Is an asylum-based green card conditional? What about improved conditions?
If asylum could be based on past persecution. So if it's past persecution, you would still get approved.
Tamara Thomas on YouTube. Can I file for myself as an individual based?
An individual what?
Individual based.
Yeah, if you have extraordinary ability in science, arts, athletics, business, yeah, if you're the best in the world at what you do, you can sponsor yourself.
Janalian Dakar on Facebook. My I-40 was approved in November of 2019, but I'm back in the Philippines and my documents were transferred to the Philippine Embassy. Any updates or predictions when they might schedule me for an interview?
Well, we talked at the top of the hour that there's 330,000 people backlogged and there's still a proclamation in place through at least March 30th. So my prediction is Magic 8 Ball, will this person get through this year? Magic 8 Ball says concentrate and ask again. I didn't concentrate very well. Let me try one more time. What's his name? I gotta concentrate better.
This one is from.
By the way, this Magic 8 Ball works. I mean, you know the
Mr. Dakar,
the guy who was doing started GameStop, and getting everybody to buy GameStop. He was basing his stock picks on the Magic 8 Ball. I read an article about it.
Really?
Yeah, the Magic 8 Ball, that's what he was doing. Before he became famous for getting everyone to buy GameStop, he was on a little Reddit thing saying the Magic 8 Ball says to buy it. So, I mean, I don't know if he has been watching Bradshaw Live, but we've been using the Magic 8 Ball for years. This thing works. What is the question again now? Let's go through it one more time.
So my I-140 was approved in November of 2019. They're back in the Philippines, and their documents were transferred to the embassy there.
And what's his name?
Any updates and predictions?
What's his name?
Janaline Dakar.
Janaline Dakar. We need a prediction for the Magic 8 Ball. His I-140 is approved. He's in the Philippines. He's been waiting for years for his green card. He's eligible right away. There's 338,000 backlogged. Will he get his green card this year? And the answer is, you may rely on it. Magic 8 Ball says you're getting it. It's as good a prediction as I can make.
There you have it. All right, Senamoli Lotunagua on YouTube. Is it possible to apply for citizenship since I have already filed an I-130 for a child under 21 with PR status?
Yes, you can apply for citizenship. You filing for a child has nothing to do with you becoming a citizen. If you qualify, you qualify.
Colin G on YouTube. What about a young man living here since he was 15 months old, had a green card, deported at 27 years old because he was addicted after a doctor's prescription and in a country he never knew? Mom is a citizen now and all his family is here. What can we do?
Sounds like a very sad story. I would have to look at his file to see if he could even come back. Sounds like he was convicted of drug possession or sale of drugs, which would even be worse. But if he's convicted of drug possession or drug sale, he's not coming back, and that's a very sad story. All right, two more.
Okay.
Two more.
Sumit Kandalwal on, I don't know where it's from, but it is asking, my employer is not sending the I-140 documents. What can I do?
Nothing. They're the sponsor. And if they won't do it, then you're getting screwed.
Janique Debris.
And quite frankly, you know, then you're not going to be a very good employee. So, I mean, it works both ways. And eventually you'll have to find another job or do something. But you can't force somebody to file an I-140. But the I-140 has to be filed within 180 days of the perm approval. Okay, I apologize. Last one.
Janique Debris, on YouTube, will the interview style change? Nowadays, people don't get informed whether they are approved or not on the spot. Many times they are hit with an RFB after this. Will this bureaucratic behavior change?
Well, during the Trump administration, it's been an adversarial process. It's no longer been a service-based process. Let's hope it changes. It's not going to change over time. So, but hopefully, it's not going to change immediately, but hopefully it will change over time. So we talked about earlier about the couple who met on Tinder, and I gave them a Bradified Marriage. It's American-born writer Jessa Crispin and Colombian-born Nicholas Rodriguez. They married just 2 weeks after they met on Tinder. And Jessa wrote a New York Times op-ed piece about their experience navigating Nicholas's green card application process. They joined me for a game of Bradified Marriage as they prepared for their forthcoming Stokes interview. And could this loving couple pass the Bradified Marriage and thus pass the Stokes interview? Let's watch. You met each other for 2 weeks, and obviously there had to have been adjustments made. And here you are 6-7 months later. You basically held hands, jumped off the cliff, and right now, knock on wood, you guys are very happy and grounded. So, it's wonderful. One of the ways to make sure it works out is you got to pass your immigration interview. We have a game here that we play on our show sometimes called the Bradified Marriage. When you go on your adjustment interview, which will be in probably another 18, 20, 24 months, whatever it is, they're going to ask you questions that only a husband and wife living together would know the answers to. And they want to determine that you married for love. You didn't marry just to give this man a green card, or he didn't pay you to get a green card. One, they ask you questions about your living arrangements. And two, they want to know that you have an economic relationship together, meaning that you jointly commingle your income, and out of that income that you earn, that is commingled, you pay the debts of your marriage, whether it's taxes, credit cards, and that's how they determine whether or not this is a real legitimate marriage. It's the whole basis of this interview. That's what you're waiting on to get your green card. Now, many times you fumble through the interview or the officer thinks there's something fishy going on. They're going to separate you into 2 different rooms. I don't know, Nicholas, if you're familiar from Colombia, but I know Jessa should be familiar with a game back from the 1970s, a game show called the Newlywed Game. where they would literally put somebody in a soundproof booth and then ask newlyweds question and see if the spouse can get the answer. In USCIS, they call this the Stokes interview. They're going to separate you into two different rooms, and they're going to ask Jessa about, this is assuming you don't get through on the first time around, and I assume you will, and hopefully you won't get to this stage. But if you do, they're going to ask Jessa about 100 questions about your life and your lifestyle, and they're going to ask you about 100 questions. And then they got to match. And then sometimes they don't match, and then they bring you in and ask for an explanation. We like to call this the Bradified Marriage game. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you about 4 or 5 questions that it's possible, because you never know what you're going to get at that interview. Now, we're not going to separate you into 2 different rooms, but I understand you have a pad and paper in front of you somewhere. And don't show your spouse what you're writing. And that's correct, right? We're going to then ask you to lift up the answer at the same time and see how well you, or not well, you guys are going to do. Now, I will say the last couple that we had on that did this, we know are in a legitimate marriage, and they only got 1 out of 5 questions right. So you ready to start?
Yes.
Okay. What was the last restaurant the 2 of you went out to, the name of it, and what did you eat for dinner? That is the question.
Okay.
All right. Nicholas, you ready?
Yes.
All right. So let's put up the paper. The name of the restaurant and what did you eat for dinner is?
It was some Italian place.
Italian place, veal, and Nicholas has no idea what he ate. But you're close. Oh, he said pasta? I just thought blank. All right. I give that. I give that to you. All right, 1 for 1. I give that to you. How many locks are on the front door of your apartment door?
Okay.
You ready? The answer is 3, and you say 2. You guys are not living in the same apartment. What was the problem?
One doesn't work.
We have one that does.
You have one that doesn't work. That's exactly what would happen, why somebody would screw up. That's a question that is 99% of the time always asked. And I've seen people screw up also because there's sometimes a lock, not a lock on the actual doorknob, and they don't count that sometimes as well. Before you go for your interview, and this is for everybody, not only you, but for everybody, you have to walk around your house and be aware of everything in that house. How many locks, colors of furniture, where the air conditioner comes from, where you turn on the heat. All of those questions on your daily, everyday life of living in the house, you're going to be asked specific questions about. Okay. 1 for 2. You ready? For question number 3. What time do each of you generally wake up for work in the morning? What time do you wake up and what time does Nicholas wake up? So you can ask both times. All right, you ready? All right, what do we got? What time do you wake up? All right, 6:30 is him, 7 o'clock is me, and he has the same thing. Congratulations, right? He had the same thing. Congratulations. All right, so that's 2 out of 3. Okay. I would say that I'm going to give you 2 more questions. And if you pass these 2 questions, you got 4 out of 5 right. And the one you got wrong was kind of iffy. I would bratify the marriage and say you'll do fine. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, next question. What is the name of the toothpaste that you use in your bathroom currently? What is the name of the toothpaste that you use in your bathroom currently? And the answer is Colgate, him Colgate, me Tom's. Okay, all right, you got it. That's good, but at least you got Colgate. All right. What, you didn't know Tom's, Nicholas? No. All All right, last question, but we'll give that one to you as well. We'll give that one to you as well. The last question. Tell me the names of your in-laws. What are the names of your in-laws? The first name of Nicholas's mom and dad, Jessa, you have to say that. And Nicholas, all right, and obviously, Nicholas, you also have to say the names of what your parents are so we can compare.
Okay.
Are you ready? The four names of the in-laws are, let's see, Kathy, Jim, Jamie, Emma. Emma, Jack, Kathy. All right, so you missed one somewhere. You got 3 out of 4. You didn't know one of them?
I didn't know. I don't remember his father's.
His father's name. You guys knew enough. You would have passed. Thank you for playing. So I give you a pass, but there are little things like that screw you up, and it really depends on the immigration office. When I was a young lawyer, I went on a Stokes interview, and it must have been my first or second interview, and they asked the couple, what did you do for dinner last night? And the guy said he went to McDonald's, and the other woman said, we had hamburgers. And the officer said, no, you got that question wrong. I'm like, what, are you out of your mind? They ate hamburgers at McDonald's, and I went crazy. Okay? You know, so sometimes you get officers who are literally want to see the same exact words because they got blinders on. So you really have to really think about it ahead of time before you go to your interview. You got plenty of time, but you did really well. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you. And we look forward to hearing more about your relationship. It's really amazing. You guys met on Tinder in 2 weeks. You got engaged. A month later, you were already married and filing papers for your green card. Your entire lives have changed. It sounds like they've changed for the better. So congratulations to you both. Jessa, you wrote a wonderful article about your experience to date in the New York Times, and I read it and I thought it was really wonderful. So congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on. By the way, couples should direct message us, direct message the show if they would like to play a game of Bradified Marriage. You do not have to be undergoing the green card application process to play. Or if you want to play another game, you know, like how do you say it, or immigration translation, who invented it, American born or immigrant. There's so many to choose from. Just DM us on any of our social media platforms, and we'll be happy to get in touch with you, and we will get you to play one of the games with us and the crew. So definitely DM us if you're interested in appearing on Brad Show Live. But right now we have to do 9 questions. 9 questions in, there we are. Yes, that was one of our last games. 9 questions in 50 seconds. We're going to try to answer 9 immigration questions in 50 seconds. When me, Yo-Yo, and Vanessa like to show off, and if not, then they just blow me up. All right? It's either show off or get blown up. It's one or the other.
I'd rather show off.
I'd rather show off too. I don't like getting blown up. All right, it's not
Okay,
it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant.
It isn't.
All right.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Can I return to the U.S. after filing an extension?
If on a visa, yes, if your extension got approved.
Past naturalization, but they're missing background info. Is that bad?
No.
Military husband can't make the interview. Can I reschedule?
Yes.
Will I be denied asylum case come under Biden's amnesty plan?
No.
Student visa expired 30 years ago. Could I be eligible for amnesty?
Yes.
Can a U.S. citizen with a criminal record file for his wife?
Yes.
Will amnesty apply if the green card was denied before?
Perhaps. It depends what the reason for the green card denial.
Can 18 years old apply for their parents living in the U.S.?
No, 21.
Can you use your visitor's visa for consular processing? You should have just said yes or no.
I was crying because I saw the bomb going.
But you should have just said yes or no.
You know what'd be really funny is if we had some like black, like powder. After the bomb went off, they threw black powder on me. I'm like, well, like wiping the black powder off of me.
And then there should be confetti too when we celebrate,
exactly,
which is usually what happens.
Exactly. I mean, we want real balloons coming from the ceiling, not these fake, balloons. What was the last question? What was the last question?
Can you use your visitor's visa for consular processing?
Can you use your visitor's visa for consular processing? That doesn't even make sense.
Consular?
Can you use a visitor's visa
for consular?
Yeah, that's consular processing. Is you're just going for you're going to the U.S. Embassy for a visa. What are you using your visitor's visa for? I don't understand that part of it. So that's that's a question I don't get. There was a question about can you file as an American citizen with a criminal record for a spouse? Yes, and the only time you can't is if you were convicted of child molestation, then you can't. And there was one other question I needed to expand on, but now I don't remember anymore because I got blown up and my mind is a little frazzled still.
On the last question.
Yeah. All right, let's do comments of the day, guys. Comments of the day.
All right. All right, our first comment of the day comes from Leticia Johnson saying, "Thank you, Lord, the immigration king is here. Hallelujah." In Medea voice, that means hallelujah.
Okay.
What would we have done without the phenomenal human being, Brad, right here?
Oh, wow. That's very nice for my ego. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Maybe we just have one comment.
Okay, well, I could do the rest.
I was muted. I was muted. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's all good. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, and that is great advice from Mr. Brad.
Oh, very nice. That's very nice. Thank you. All right, we got Vanessa back now.
Shane Kalinda's saying, "Getting my dose of current events from you guys. You are so much more fun to listen to."
Thank you. We try our best.
I agree. And last comment of the day comes from Maxine Gowie saying, "Yeah, Uncle Brad for Nobel Peace Prize 2021.
I agree with that. Nobel Peace Prize. Why stop at president, right? Last year they wanted me to be president. Now it's Nobel Peace Prize. Ruler of the world. I don't know. Whatever they want to make me. I'm happy to take the title. Thank you very much.
Listen, as long as we still continue Bradshaw Live.
That's right. Right. You can be president, senator, ruler of the world, Nobel Peace Prize. Just make sure your tuchus is back here at 6 o'clock answering immigration questions. And then I guess I'll be here tomorrow with you guys, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465.